to the world of chiropractic, where we take one epic journey around the world as we explore the 7 regions of the World Federation of Chiropractic. My name is Dr. Rebecca Wilkes, and I invite you to travel with me as we go on this exciting adventure around the globe. Welcome, Dr. Côté. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very good. Thank you so much for having me. It's quite a honor to be asked to participate in your podcast.
And it is an honor to have you on our podcast. So thank you for donating some of your time to us this afternoon. So let's just go ahead and jump into the life of Dr. Côté. So what made you choose chiropractic as a career?
Well, first, I'm a second-generation chiropractor. So my father was a chiropractor before I was. I always thought that healthcare was a choice for me. And I really appreciate the level of intervention of chiropractic, being more of a wellness healthcare intervention, and really working on quality of life, allowing people to function normally and to the full enjoyment of their lives. Also, I have to admit, I have a little bit of attention deficit, and the immediate gratification that chiropractic can provide you as a physician is not matched in any other line of medicine. We've all experienced the patient that comes in that can't turn his head or can't walk straight, and you work on them for 30 minutes and they walk with a smile on, and you get that immediate result to say, wow, this is what I did. As to, I have a friend who does incredible stuff. He is a liver transplant specialist. He saves people's lives, but he actually never sees his patients after he's done the work. Most of the time he flies in, does it. They're pretty much asleep by the time he goes there, and he does extraordinary work, but he never sees the finished product. And that would not suit my personality well at all. I need to see it. And that's chiropractic has been great for that.
Instant gratification almost. I know. Yeah. We have this joke at my office that people always walk out without their canes and leave with a smile. So
yeah, absolutely.
We understand that.
Yeah.
Well, you own a chiropractic clinic called Côté Chiropractic in Silverton, Oregon, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you have a special population that you work with, or a type of, skill set that you like to go towards?
So Silverton is a small town of about, we just passed the 10,000 population. So specialty in a small market like this is not very viable. So I'm just a family practitioner. I deal with whoever comes through the door and whatever problems they have. I treat children, I treat seniors, athletes, people who've been in car accident or injured at work. We just take it all. If we feel we can help them, we're more than happy to lend a hand.
And that's kind of what I understood was the culture of Oregon, having gone to school there. There's a lot of rural areas, and so the scope of practice for chiropractic is incredibly broad in comparison to the rest of the world.
Yes, we have, of course, you can do regular chiropractic, physical therapy, which in most areas is also included. We can do, of course, nutrition counseling, functional medicine, but what really distinct us from a lot of different locations is that we also, in our license, are covered for OBGYN, proctology, and minor surgery. Now, keep in mind that very few of us actually practice this, but it sure is nice to know that in cases where it's needed, there's some remote regions in Oregon where the medical facilities are not really available, and there is a few chiropractors that then become the suture facility for their rural area or farm area. So
really helping to fulfill a need.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. And I believe that that's probably why it was established that way originally. The original law for chiropractic is from 1927. And in those days, the availability of medical facilities was even more restricted in Oregon. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And so are there any social or political limitations to chiropractic that you see in Oregon?
Well, there's always some territorial issues. I think politically, we're very well situated. I think that the legislature, as well as the last governors, as far as as far as I've been in Oregon, have always been very favorable towards chiropractic. But then you get into territorial issues. For example, a few years ago, there was a request from one of the licensees here in Oregon to include dry needling into the law, or if you want, the regulations of the state. And we were challenged by the acupuncturist, who determined that that was an acupuncture procedure. And so sadly enough, this was taken to court, and the chiropractors lost and acupuncturists won. And so we cannot practice dry needling in Oregon, even though we can do minor surgery. So yeah.
And from what I understand, the West Coast acupuncture is much more established than it is as
Yes.
you work your way eastward within the.
Yes, yeah. In Oregon, we have acupuncturists, naturopaths that are also licensed, and so that really gives a nice array. But it also established I think over the years, a very well reception from the traditional medical field to what traditionally or historically was called alternative medicine, and really included us more like most insurance group will cover chiropractic or naturopathic care or acupuncture care, as well as massage therapy. So the environment for practice is really pleasant here.
At OHSU, the medical university there, they actually have a naturopath on staff, a chiropractor, or a few chiropractors on the staff.
Yes, they have a few chiropractors.
Counterparts. So
yeah, and actually, a couple of those chiropractors actually teach classes to the medical students.
That's exciting. That just to hear kind of the integrative nature of that.
Yeah, yeah, it's all about information and education.
Right, exactly. And speaking of, you are the president and District 1 director for the NBCE, or National Board of Chiropractic Examiners. And District 1 includes Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Alaska. Can you tell us a little bit about the NBCE?
Well, first of all, I'm impressed because I don't think I could name all my states as well as you just did. So the National Board of Chiropractic Examiner is, of course, the testing organization in the U.S. for chiropractic licensure. What our role is, our original role, and still to this day, is to ensure entry-level competency. And that, of course, is done through 4 different exams. We have 3 written that we still call written, but really they're computer-based now. Parts 1, 2, and 3, and then 1 practical exam, which evaluates the clinical ability with live simulated patients of the incoming chiropractors. The 3, I would say, I would categorize the benefits of having an organization like this in the U.S. as 3 level. First, it allows incoming chiropractors to have only to take 1 set of exams, and to be able then to go practice in all 50 states. Historically, if I had graduated from one chiropractic school and maybe thought in my lifetime I wanted to practice maybe in Oregon, maybe in Texas, maybe go retire in Florida, I would have had to travel to these 3 states and take their local exam in the time, because you want to take them when you just finished with school, because a lot of times it's more difficult to take some of those examinations after you've been in practice for 25 or 30 years. You don't quite remember all the different name of the tests or so on. So that's one advantage for the chiropractic students that recently graduated. The second one is, of course, is accreditation. So it's an independent evaluation of the chiropractic program performance for the accreditation. So the CCE includes a certain level of performance from the students that come out of the chiropractic programs. And we are able to independently evaluate that. And so through the same exam, the performance of the different programs is monitored, and that is part of their accreditation process. The next one, of course, is public protection. Public protection is very important. Almost all of the members of the National Board were regulators at one point, and that is very important. The chiropractic patients are should be and must be protected from non-qualified chiropractors, and that's the whole purpose of regulation. And so we ensure entry-level knowledge before they can get licensed. National board also, I would say, I would call it a measuring stick corporation. We are a testing organization. We specialize in testing, but we can test anything you want. Literally, we do it. Now we do specialty council examination. For example, there's an acupuncture licensing exam that we have, or a qualification. We have a specialty council like the nutrition chiropractic program that we do their qualification, their final exam. We also do state board jurisprudence examination for multiple state because it's more objective, it's better built, it's legally defensible, and it's easier to take for the students also, or the people who want to become licensed. And then we also do other professional examination. We have a spin-off corporation called Ethics and Boundary Assessment Service, EBOS, that does basically examination for licensees of different professions that have been naughty and have not behaved ethically. And so it's an examination that we offer, and we have much more licensee from other professions like nursing, medical doctors, dentistry, architecture, that will take that examination in order to be re-given their license or part of their penalty or their agreement to continue to practice. And so we also have a few international benchmark or competency examination that we've given in the past, and we're working on more of those. We also we have a social side, national board. We support, of course, regulation everywhere we can. We also support research. Last year, we donated $1 million to the RAND Corporation to establish basically a chiropractic research school or program for all the different organizations and schools in the country. We also give grant awards for research to the ACA, to the WFC, to the ACC, to the students organization. We support the student organization or specialty organization like the American Black Chiropractic Association or the Women's Chiropractic Association. And so we really take that at heart. We also have supported recently promotion of the chiropractic profession by donating a significant amount of money to the Foundation for Chiropractic to make the upcoming Tokyo Olympics advertisement on NBC, no relationship to NBCE, for promotion of the chiropractic profession and chiropractic for sports injury and so on. So we're a very well-established group, and we have our fingers in multiple places.
Sounds like very impactful places.
It is. It is.
And how is it involved with I heard about the IBCE, or the International Board of Chiropractic Examiners?
Yes. So the IBCE is, again, a spin-off of the National Board, and it is focused on international. So I happen to be the chair of that one too. And right now, the IBCE, we have projects going with we're helping the Latin America accreditation group who are establishing themselves. The Latin American market for chiropractic education is exploding. There's chiropractic schools opening everywhere, but not in every country. So, for example, in Mexico, there's more. In Brazil, there's more. And so people from different countries want to come in and get educated in another country because it's not available in theirs, and then want to go back and practice. So accreditation is becoming important in order to meet regulation and licensing requirements. So we're helping them establish the accreditation process by, sadly enough, COVID interrupted us, but we're back on track, and we're getting ready to establish a benchmark exam, or similar to the National Board, Part 1 through 4, we're going to establish a system of examination to ensure entry-level competency. Now that's very interesting because it involves multiple country and regulation level and practice scope. So we need to bring everybody to the table and really find an examination that meets all the common denominator, and to ensure that for anybody, it can be recognized as an examination. We're also doing the same with the WFC right now, where Dr. Richard Brown, he is currently working on selecting the initial group that will basically create a benchmark exam to allow travel for chiropractors educated maybe in the UK to be able to go practice in France or in Denmark and vice versa. And so, and hopefully this can become a benchmark exam that will be more applicable worldwide, which would make us basically very much so the most advanced profession that way in the world. Because if, depending on where you went to medical school or nursing school or whatever school, very few profession you can transfer from one continent to the other and maintain your license without having to go back to education.
That's exciting. I know we've had quite a few, or a couple Latin American chiropractors on the show at this point, and they were talking about the IBCE. I didn't realize that you were looking for such fluidity between countries and continents. So more to come, I guess.
Yes, it's, I mean, those are early level projects, and it's going to take time to complete them. And there's many obstacles between now and the finished products. But we're very excited. I'm very excited about it. Being a kind of an international person myself, originated, I mean, Canada is close to the US, but having been raised in a different language, to me, that's very important. I'm very sensitive to the different cultures, to the different need of multiple countries where they're totally underserved in chiropractic care. And we need to promote this and expand the profession worldwide and make it accessible to everybody.
Right, that makes, I mean, absolute sense. And why not just be the spearhead of all of it, create something that hasn't been created before. So, so exciting. I can't wait to see what transpires out of this.
Yes, we're very excited.
And you mentioned that you were from Canada at one point. Tell us a little bit more about where you were from, and you are now in Oregon. What got you there?
Okay, so I grew up, I was born in Sherbrooke, which, if you know, Quebec is well known, but it's a smaller town on the shore of Lake Champlain. And I grew up mostly in Quebec City. And when I was 28, I moved to Dallas, Texas, for grad school. I went to Parker University. Long story short, I met a very charming young woman down in Texas who was a flight attendant, and we dated for a while, and we liked each other enough. We got married and started a family. But when it was time for me to choose where to practice after chiropractic school, I really felt the South was a little too warm for me. My Canadian blood quite could not adapt to the heat and the humidity. And she was more Southern, and so therefore the Northeast was too cold and for her. So we looked for temperate areas, and Oregon was one that we looked at. And much like the picture behind you and behind me, as you can tell, this is my backyard, by the way. Oregon is nature, green, mountains, lakes, and so on. It actually reminds me a lot of where I grew up in Quebec. And so it was a natural choice. We established ourselves here actually 25 years ago this year. This upcoming July 4th will be 25 years. We will have lived in Oregon, and it's been a fantastic place to raise the family, the kids, and so on. And we've made friends here, and so it's been great.
What a good holiday to transplant in the United States on July 4th, I guess.
Yes. Silverton is located on the western foothills of the Cascade Mountains, which I can see part behind you.
Part of, yes.
Yes, part of.
So Oregon, you mentioned I had mentioned has a broad scope, and you had mentioned GU, you had mentioned minor surgery. If someone were to be trying to move to Oregon, to be licensed in Oregon, are there any entry exams they need to take to have a license in Oregon?
Yes, you do. So of course you have to have graduated from an accredited chiropractic program, not necessarily a US program. In Oregon, when I was on the board, we added a section to it that if you have graduated from any accredited chiropractic school anywhere in the world, we will consider you as an applicant. You have had to also add additionally to the chiropractic education, you need 36 hours of education in minor surgery and proctology. You need a letter of recommendation from a licensed chiropractor. You need a minimum of 2 years of liberal arts and science education prior to chiropractic school. And you must have taken and passed all parts of the National Board of Chiropractic Examiner exams. And then you take the specialty exam for OBGYN, minor surgery, and proctology. And if you pass that, then you get your license.
Fantastic. And then you're in a beautiful state with a lot of nature. Yes,
lots of nature. I kind of had to make some notes because it's so diverse here. So it's interesting state because it's not that big. It's about the same size as the UK or so. And if you go from the west to the east, right? So in the west, you start at the Pacific Ocean and the beautiful beaches and the cliffs and so on. Then you move into the coastal range, which is host, of course, of the Pacific Crest Trail, which many people who are hikers know as being the one trail you can leave from Mexico and make it to Canada walking. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but many people do it. I can drive or I can fly that far. And then you get into the valley, which is where I'm at, where basically you can grow everything, right? Row crops, where vegetables, berries, cherries, apples, pears, grass seed, Christmas trees, but mostly the part I enjoy the most is grapes. They grow grapes here. So in the valley here in Oregon, we have over 900 wineries. Which at least 300 or 400 are within an hour drive from my house. The closest one, maybe 5 minutes. So anybody that wants to come and visit me, give me a call. And I mean, we have 21 different wine growing regions, as well as 100 different varieties of grapes that we grow here. So it's awesome. Then if you go east, then you get into the Cascade, which is more of a high peak volcanic mountain type, which you very kindly have pictures of a section of it behind you. And then you get on the other side of that, you get into the high desert, which then you get into Bend, Oregon. And so the Pacific gets a lot more, on the beach gets a lot more rain, and it's a lot cooler than it is in the valley. In the valley, we get a lot more rain than they do in Eastern Oregon, where it's a lot more dry. And of course, Bend has a resort city close by called Sun River, who is known to get well over 300 days of sunshine a year. And so, but it's colder there and warmer. So it's the high desert. So it's a very interesting state. And in a 6-hour drive, you go through all the regions I have described to you. It's a really interesting place to live.
And of course, the people there are phenomenal. So.
Well, I think so for the most part, right? I mean, universally, there's always people not so great, but there's not that many of them. And so, but the population is interesting. You know, I said it's the same size as UK, and there's almost 70 million people living in the UK. We only have about 4 million in Oregon, and 2.5 of those live in the Portland metro area. And so there's sections of Oregon where you go miles and miles without seeing anybody. So,
you know, you may be advertising this state. Might be noticing quite a few people transferring there after this.
Well, we have room. We have plenty of room. Well, welcome.
Well, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us something unique about you.
Oh, that's hard. That's very hard. Basically, I'm just a regular chiropractor. I'm just a regular person. I've always worked hard. I've always been very involved, right? I always have had the desire to put my shoulder to the machine and push myself. But I'm very family focused. I'm a family guy. My wife and I have been dedicated to our 4 kids. We followed passionately through their sporting career, to their artistic careers. They're now grown, and we just married one off last weekend in Kansas. We have another one getting married early August, and so now we're entering the phase where we're getting excited about soon, hopefully, becoming grandparents. But family, family is it for me. As much as I work and I do stuff with the chiropractic world or other things, family is number one, and that I'd say that would be what describes me the best, and that's unique about me is regardless of what I do around, I always have my family first and in interest.
And it sounds like a few family exciting events coming up and
Yes.
fast.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Yes.
Well, let's hop over to the students now, new graduates. If you were to offer any advice looking back on your career to these two populations, could you kind of impart some wisdom to them?
Well, I would say, as far as being a chiropractor, I think that the foremost is you must care. Caring about your patient is the most important technique that you will ever have, because people will feel it, they will know it, and it will make you more of a healer. Not to get too much into the philosophy of it, but caring for people and doing the adjustment with intent will allow you to adjust them better. And that's just, there's no scientific statistic analysis of that, but I could introduce you to thousands and thousands of chiropractors that would support that over the years they have noticed that when they are well and intended, that their patients will be better, their adjustments are better, they're more focused on their care, and that's the most important part of the technique. Be patient. As a past regulator, I've seen too many quick buck scheme cost young chiropractors their license because it was not the most ethical thing to do. So be patient. Time and presence will make you successful, and that's very important. As far as professional side, as far as like getting involved and so on, right? Becoming, a lot of times, one of my favorite parts of being the president of the national board is I get to go to exam and observe the practical exams. So all these young chiropractors finishing up with all this enthusiasm, and they ask me, well, how do I become the president of the national board? And I tell them, I said, first of all, get involved, right? Speak up and lend a hand. You cannot be complaining and not wanting to participate in the process. You want things to change, you better get involved. You better push yourself. You better speak up. You better go and try to make it better yourself, because you can't count on other people. If there's something you want to do, you might as well do it. Don't wait until somebody else has the same idea. Be a leader, whether it is in your office, in your family, in your church or your city council, or wherever you want to be a leader. Just stand up. We're chiropractors. We're by nature caring and intelligent people, and we owe it to the world to donate our time and our qualities. So if you want change, just better do it yourself.
And throughout this interview, you have essentially highlighted on every single portion of the hashtag that the WFC has. It's called Be Epic. And it sounds like you very much embody those concepts within your practice and your personal life.
Yeah, I was very excited when I think it was it in Berlin that the Epic was released, I think, or something like that. I was at one of the meetings where Dr. Brown first introduced the theme. And I thought, well, yeah, obviously, because I firmly, deeply believe that that's what chiropractors do. That's what we've always done, right? We are connected. We're first line contact, conservative care, and that is very important. And so I hope that all chiropractors get to that point, and that it continues on, because that's why we are growing. That's why we're becoming more and more present in the healthcare system, because we feel this need that is there, and the level of intervention we have, nobody else does. Medical doctors are fantastic. I tell my patients all the time, if you're having a heart attack, don't come here. Cardiologists are incredible, but they're incredible at keeping people alive and fighting diseases that are deadly and terrible. But when it comes to quality of life, that's not what their education is in. That's what our education is in. Right? Improving your health and wellness. That's what we do. And that is so important, because it's one thing to be alive, but it's much better when you're well and alive.
Right. And you prevent things from happening in the future.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Dr. Côté, I want to thank you for showing us your insight, giving us some of your wisdom, and telling us about your leadership within the field. Thank you so much for imparting that upon us with the world of chiropractic today.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you for having me. It's a privilege, for just a regular chiropractor from a small town in Oregon to be able to share with you and all your audience. Thank you very much.
Yes, and thank you for what you do.